Hello everyone, Nikki here. Today we talk kombucha. So for those who may not know what kombucha is, it is a fermented tea drink that has wonderful probiotic benefits. So the first thing that you need when you are making kombucha is a SCOBY. A SCOBY is a symbiotic culture of bacteria and yeast. Looks kind of like an alien. You can actually purchase SCOBYs at Whole Foods or health food stores, organic stores of that nature. You can also find a friend who makes their own kombucha and ask them, hey, do you have an extra SCOBY? And I'm sure they'd love to share with you. You need tea because it's a tea drink. So I typically use a Rooibos African red tea because it is decaffeinated naturally. It's an herbal tea, wonderful properties in it anyway. You can also use a black tea or a green tea. I always use organic because we want to really be mindful of the chemicals that are going into our bodies. You also need sugar. The SCOBY, those bacteria, the living bacteria, actually consume the sugar, so it can't be a sugar substitute. It needs to be an actual raw sugar. And you'll need good, clean, filtered water. And that's really all you need. So let's get started. So for a quart jar, you're gonna need 2 cups of boiling water. You're gonna need 1/3 of a cup of your raw sugar. Once you have that mixed in, you're gonna need your tea bags. So for 1 quart, as we're doing, you will need 3 tea bags. And we're gonna let these steep for about 5 or 6 minutes. Then you're going to need to remove the tea bags. And you will actually add 1 more cup of cold filtered water. So you want to have a total of 3 cups when you're done. This helps to just kind of speed up. This would need to come to room temperature, so I just use cold filtered water to help it go quicker. And you're going to pour this into your quart mason jar. The final ingredient that we're going to use is about 3/4 to a cup of starter fluid. So what that is once you've already made a batch of kombucha, you will have liquid that forms, which is your kombucha, and you'll need about 3/4 of a cup of that original liquid. If you get a SCOBY from a friend, ask if you can have some of their starter liquid as well. If not, no worries. You can go to the grocery store and buy kombucha now. Pretty much every grocery store has it. And you want to find either a plain kombucha or something just like ginger. You don't want a bunch of flavors in it. You want it as plain as possible. So we're going to pour our starter fluid in, and this is actually going to kind of fire up those bacteria that we're about to put in and help it to grow and start eating the sugar out of our tea. We will need our SCOBY. And so you're just going to drop that in. It may float, it may sink, it's fine, it doesn't matter. And this is actually called the mother. And every batch of kombucha that you make, the mother has a baby. So we are going to put, I'll just use this one. We're going to put a cloth over our jar and just have a rubber band or something like that to hold that on there, just so that you don't get any debris that falls in, dust or fruit flies or anything like that, just to cover it up. But it needs the oxygen so that those bacteria can grow and proliferate. So on the surface, after a couple of days, you might see a little white wisp. It's not mold. That is your new baby SCOBY. After 7 to 10 days on the counter, your kombucha will be ready to enjoy. You can drink it straight from there. You can bottle it and put it in the refrigerator so that it's cold, or you can actually do what's called a second ferment and add flavors to infuse your kombucha. By the power of time lapse, we actually have some kombucha ready to do a second ferment. So you are going to take off your fabric, and you can see that we have our new mother and baby SCOBY. Sometimes they attach, that's okay. Sometimes they're together, sometimes they're separate. See, this one's kind of like a flap. Totally fine, completely normal. All right, so what we'll do is So we're going to carefully pour our kombucha liquid into the jars. 1 quart jar of kombucha that we've made will make about 2 servings. Again, if you want to pour off a little bit of the liquid to have for your next starter, then you have that liquid available. I'm going to do some blueberry in one, and I'm going to do some raspberry in the other. Again, I want to stress that because we're trying to be very clean in what we're doing, use organic fruits for your second ferment. So you will take, I usually just put a small handful of blueberries in there just to give it some nice flavor, maybe 8 to 10 blueberries. And then we'll do, since raspberries are a little bigger, I put maybe 5 or 6. It's not really a science. I mean, there is science involved, but to make your second ferment, it's just creativity. What flavors do you like? As you try it, you'll find out what you prefer. So to this point, we've just had the fabric over top. Now we're going to tightly secure our lids. Leave these on the counter for 2 to 3 days. And again, I usually label mine. I just put that it's a ferment 2, so I put F2 and I put what fruit or herbs I put in there. And then I put the date so that I know in 2 or 3 days I'm going to take this and test it to see that the sugar has been consumed from the fruit. And then you can drink it straight from there. You can put it in the refrigerator so that it's nice and cold. That's what I prefer to do. And in the refrigerator, you can keep this in there for another week or so and just enjoy it when you want to. But you will sometimes notice that when you crack open this lid, it might relieve some pressure because there's fermentation going on, and sometimes it'll get fizzy, and that's just nice, a nice fun drink. So that is how you do a second ferment. I hope that you'll try it out, and if you have any questions, you can reach out to me, but that's the basis of kombucha and fruit infusions. So I hope you'll enjoy some kombucha today.